Welcome to DPYL Community Connections, a series highlighting organizations, programs, and opportunities that strengthen our communities. I'm your host, Marian Mills. Join us as we connect with people, resources, and initiatives making a difference. Welcome to another episode of Community Connections with Depression Proof Your Life Live. Our first episode, we actually introduced Veterans Community Network of Central Virginia and learned about their mission and the services that they actually provide for veterans. Today, we're actually continuing that conversation by focusing on another important area of the organization. I'm joined by Jackie Johnson. She's the Secretary of VCNCV. She's here to talk about her role, the organization's role, as well as continued need for volunteers and how members in the community can actually get involved. Jackie is an Army veteran and has more than 16 years dedicated to mental health and service. She brings the same commitment to her role as the Secretary of Veterans Community Network of Central Virginia. She's also an avid reader and helps actually give her a different perspective on other people's views. Jackie, thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate it. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Good. So before we actually talk about volunteering, if you could just briefly tell the listeners, excuse me, if you could just briefly tell the listeners about your role at BCNCB and what led you to actually become part of the organization.
Okay, so yes, I'm a secretary of the VCNCV. Um, I actually got into how I became secretary. I just kind of was thrown into that aspect of the role. I actually got into how I became secretary. I just kind of was thrown into that aspect of the role. People volunteer, and initially we had some people volunteer, and then later found out that the VCNCB didn't kind of align with what their goals were.
Okay.
And so when John Maxwell asked me to join through his connections with Department of Veteran Services, which now we know that he's the commissioner again.
Yes. Hmm.
Um, and so he stepped down from the VCN. And from there, just seeing how passionate John was about this mission, about this program, and
Right.
building these connections, it really just motivated me to want to be more active in the role with the VCN and just help align with the mission of the VCN is to just fill in those gaps in the community
Hmm.
that we see when it comes to members, veterans, and their family members.
Yeah.
We know that we are in a resource-rich area.
Yes.
However, it can be very overwhelming to access these resources.
Hmm.
We understand that, you may go to somewhere and seek help, and they give you a list of all these places to call
Hmm.
and all these people you should talk to.
That's right.
And I don't know about you. I don't like calling 50 million people, and if I go down the first 5 people on the list and everybody say they can't help me, then
Right.
I don't wanna call anymore.
That's right. No, that's fair, and I appreciate the honesty. That's why it's so important for this, and I love the way you phrased it. Rich, rich, resource rich
Yes,
area.
resource rich.
That's so true, and I think sometimes that can also just be the very thing that overwhelms people. So yeah, like when it comes to resources, a lot of times all of it looks the same, even for a lot of veterans. So.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And so with the VCN, we didn't want that to be like a barrier for people to access care, treatment, or any of the resources that they needed. And so
Right.
we decided in the beginning that we weren't going to provide a direct service per
Mm.
se, but be that liaison, go to middleman that can be knowledgeable of the resources in the area, make
Mhm.
those warm handoffs to people who may need support and services, and to help ease some of that stress that individuals are already under when they come to us seeking help. Because nothing is worse than already being stressed out, not sure how
Mhm.
you're going to pay your bills.
Yeah.
And then you're calling a list of people, and everybody's saying, I don't have any money.
I
I don't have any money to give you, you
look,
know,
or either the other one is, "Oh, we don't do that." Who
yeah,
gave you that information? Yeah.
yes, yeah. So,
So, tell us what the volunteer opportunities currently are, especially with some of the shifts with John actually leaving the agency, going back to be the commissioner. Tell us what some of the volunteer opportunities are for people in the community to help out.
The volunteer opportunities, it's a vast variety of how you
Okay.
can help the VCN. So we are always looking for people who don't mind accepting referrals and linking people to resources and services in the community. We're not asking you to take on a caseload per se, but if people
Hmm.
call in and need assistance, if you can help them navigate that system, that is one way to volunteer.
Okay.
Another way to volunteer is we have a mentoring program. So the goal is to help mentor transitioning service members and their
Yeah, so
families as
important.
they're getting out the military. And then we also support Chesterfield has a veterans treatment docket, and they have mentors there. And so
Okay.
with that, the treatment docket is a special court docket that individuals have to be approved to get in. They're
Mm-hmm.
followed by a clinician. They get a mentor. They get all the supports they need
Hmm.
to help them by the end of their time on the docket.
Nice.
That charge will be dismissed if they go through all the steps.
That's
And
awesome.
so that's a way that we help support the veterans in the community because we know people fall on hard times. A lot
Yeah.
of times people are struggling with their mental health, and that leads
Hmm.
us to make poor decisions.
Yes.
Substance use issues cause poor decisions. And so Chesterfield agreed that this was something that was needed. They wanted to support it. And as the VCN in this area, we support them in their mission.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love that. I didn't even know about that. That's a great collaboration.
Yes. And then other ways we have just individuals who you come to the meeting, you hear the issues. If it's something that you think you can take on, a project that you want to take on when it comes to working with veterans,
Hmm.
um, that's something that we try to build a team, come together and support.
Okay.
Um, if you have a business and your business wants to support veterans in some way, whether it's through donations, whether it's through mock interview, helping people get jobs through mock
Mm.
interviews. We've
Mhm.
had some of our volunteers work with veterans where they met up at the library, they went through mock interviews with them, they reviewed their resume. Whatever your skill set is that you think you can provide to this community, it's welcome. um, you don't have to be a veteran to volunteer. You don't have to be a military spouse. You just have
Okay.
to have this passion, this love for this community and
Yeah.
want to do the work and support those who at some point in their life sign their name on the line to give up their
Mhm.
life if they had to.
Yeah. Yeah, you actually covered, 2 of the additional questions that I was gonna ask about volunteers. Did they need any specific, skill set? And you already covered that. And also, did they need to be a veteran? So thank you so much for
Yeah.
covering, just the totality of what the need for, volunteer opportunities are. So is there a time commitment for someone who, is ex I who wants to actually volunteer? Is there any type of time commitment? And if there is it only for specific, uh, I guess I don't wanna say titles, but is it only for specific, areas of, that they may volunteer in?
It really depends. I know the mentoring
Mhm.
program, which I'm not very knowledgeable in. I just know they do go through a training program. They
Right.
have background checks done on them.
That's great, yeah.
And I'm not sure what the time commitment is with those, but of course it's a mentoring program, so your time commitment will be a little bit more lengthy than
Oh, yeah.
some of the other areas. But really, it's the project. If you're assisting or working on a project, depending on what it is, that will determine the time commitment. So we recently did some end of life videos, and we had a team that volunteered, and they saw that from beginning to end. And that's just a set of videos of information for people who are doing end of life planning
Mm,
that live on the internet that can help you talk about the cemetery things to know as the spouse if your veteran
yeah.
is passing.
Mhm.
um, and so it really depends on the project what the time
Yeah.
commitment is. We do meet quarterly in person. We try to do some down here in the Petersburg area, and we
Mhm.
also try to be in Richmond and Henrico and alternate those locations to ensure
Yes.
that everybody has the opportunity to attend those, and when we can, we'll do a hybrid
Okay.
meeting. We have a planning committee, and our planning committee meets monthly right now. We're on a short hiatus because it's summertime, everybody's vacationing,
Yes.
but we'll be resuming that in August. And the planning meeting is where we just kind of go through our areas of focus and decide, are there some projects coming up that we want to work on or things that need to happen, and what we'll bring up at the in-person meeting and try to get volunteers and people who want to take on those initiatives.
Yeah, it sounds like, there are a lot of wheels turning in different directions, and I appreciate everything that you've said about the different committees. I like the fact that each one is constantly communicating, trying to find out what the need is. Okay, let me link you here. Let me link you here. So that's actually great, and I really love that. So, what would you say to someone who wants to help, but they feel like they don't have anything to offer?
I would say just come to a meeting. Just come to a
Okay.
meeting, hear what we have to talk about. Something may spark your interest. Something you may be like, okay, this is something that I can do. This might be something that
Hmm.
I can help support. Um, I guess I'm still the lead of the behavioral health working group. And we don't expect people in our behavioral health working group to have an extensive knowledge or to even have a behavioral health background, but you're supporting the idea of the importance of us putting
Mm,
out behavioral health information, supporting us as we promote suicide prevention and awareness
yes.
in the
Hmm.
community. Um, so sometimes it's just being present, coming in, spreading the word on who we are, what we do is a great way you can start when you don't know where to start. It's just to
Hmm.
share the
Yeah.
information, come see if there's somewhere you fit in. You may even have some ideas that we haven't thought of
Right.
um, to make us improve how we're working in the community.
When you say come to a meeting, I think you called out a couple of different meetings, where they're meeting. Which one would someone actually come to actually just get a little bit more information before they decide?
I would say come to an in-person meeting
Mhm.
because there's such a diverse group of community partners that attend those meetings. So we'll have representatives
Okay.
from the CSBs. A lot of times, Wounded Warrior Project
Mm.
are in attendance. Sometimes the Legal Aid Society. So we have
Oh,
a
okay.
variety of just different community partners that come to these meetings.
Mhm.
And so people are constantly offering their input. They're sharing updates on what's going on within their network, and from there you may see something or hear something
Mhm.
that sparks your interest.
Okay. Awesome. So, before I share the flyer, is there anything else that maybe I didn't ask that you want to make sure that people know about VCN or just volunteering as a whole? Anything that you may want to share?
Um, I would say, the VCN, we have formal protocols, but it's not such a formal space where you would feel intimidated to come to one
Mm,
of our meetings. They're
yeah.
very, you know, we're chit-chatting. We'll run through our agenda, but we always leave space and room for discussion. You
Yeah.
know, we're small, but we're mighty. We help so many veterans with just very small, nuanced things. I believe they were helping a veteran with his plumbing issue. We
Mhm.
had some other veterans who, as you know, we have this older population of veterans whose
Yeah.
spouses are passing away. And the one thing we're really learning is that a lot of times, we say the spouses are the backbone of the military,
Mm,
and they
yes.
continue that on through life. And a lot of times
Absolutely.
they pass away, and the veteran has no clue,
Mm, yeah, that's so
what is
true.
happening,
Yeah.
what doctors they're supposed to be going to see,
Because their spouse
what,
took care of it all. Yeah.
yes. So if you, just if you have a passion for this population, because we need it. I really, and I'm gonna speak from a very personal place
Okay.
that my father got out the military. Um, we just thought he was just grumpy all the time. And now that
Mm,
as I'm an adult and I work in this space, I realize he really struggled with his transition out the military.
mm,
You know, he was isolating himself,
yeah.
he ended up um just gaining a lot of weight, and I really do believe he was depressed when he got out the military.
Yes, yes.
He did 20 some years and he got
Mm,
out, and he had to work and he had to do things to survive and make life happen.
yeah.
And he lost this part of his identity in that process.
Absolutely. Yeah,
And
absolutely.
so I definitely wish there was a network. It was people that, could build this camaraderie, could have helped him and supported him, or even supported the family. Like if my mom would have known, or if
Mhm.
anybody, if we would have known that this is something to look for, to expect, then
Yeah.
we could have offered more
Pre
support.
Mhm, yeah, and just been better prepared. They should have something like that where people actually slowly transition back and integrated back into the civilian world, and I really appreciate you for pointing that out, and thank you so much for sharing such a personal story, but I'm sure that so many people will be able to resonate with it, you know?
Yeah.
So, I'm going to share the flyer and well.
If you're interested in serving, also we'll have a meet and greet November 4th from 6, I believe it's 6:30 to 10 p.m. in Petersburg, Virginia, at the Virginia Resource Center. And so that's going to be, if you're ever concerned, you don't want to come into a formal meeting, that's the
Mhm,
perfect time for you to come in and just
perfect.
network.
Okay.
If you have a business and you're not sure how your business might fit in, this might be a good time for you to just come by, meet the team. And just share what you do, and we can see how that blends with what we do.
And I know you said earlier we're small but mighty. Can you share what the team consists of, or
Um,
who the
s
team consists of, I guess?
the initial team, the board, I believe it's 10 of us on the board now.
Okay.
Um, and so for the past couple of years, the board has done primarily most of the leading in the work, and we really would like to bring more individuals on that are willing to take on some leadership roles and lead some of the working groups. The organization as a whole, in terms of community partners, we have over, I want to say, 60 community partners that we work with, if not more, and that's including the VA, Department of Veteran Services, local mental health agencies, faith-based communities, chambers of commerce. So our network is large, but the ones that are kind of right now boots on the ground doing the work, we're kind of small, and we're looking for more
Mhm.
people that want to jump in there and get some work done.
Yeah. But I think what's very interesting and I appreciate, and I don't know that too many people do that. When people hear volunteer,
Mhm.
they're thinking, you know, very small. But when you were talking about volunteering, you're not just talking about individuals, you're talking about companies, businesses. It's a very holistic approach to volunteering, not just, oh, we need you to file some papers or
Yeah,
answer phones. I thought that was very unique. So yeah, that's
yeah.
awesome. All
Mm.
right. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for being here. And I look forward to, like I said, seeing VCN grow.
Well, thank you for having me. I really enjoyed my time here. I'm glad that
Thank
I could
you.
share some of my personal journey,
Yeah.
and also VCN with the community. I
Mhm.
really love this organization, and I
Yeah.
share it with any and everybody I talk to. So, it's not just something that I do that's part of my day job.
Yeah.
It's something I have a passion for. As a fellow veteran, I just feel like we deserve more.
Amen to that. I agree. I agree. Thank you for joining us on DPYL Community Connections. We hope today's conversation provided valuable insight, inspiration, and resources that you can carry with you. Until next time, stay connected with the people and resources making a difference in our communities.